112K views 3 days ago, 6K likes. Let's hop straight into it.
Listen, you beautiful souls. This one is going to be an educational video about neurodiversity. A while ago, I made a video about having autism at school, where I touched on my hellish but also heavenly high school experience as a neurodivergent person.
I used to have an autistic kid, or I don't even think he was autistic. I think he wanted to be autistic so bad because I thought he was gonna have superpowers like Percy Jackson just because he had disabilities. That's not how that works. But no, he would act like he was like, oh yeah, I have autism, and then he would start doing this for no reason. Like he'll start throwing up gang signs and just staring them down in the air. And it was like, and then I don't know, and he was in my English class, and out of nowhere he would be like, oh, there's a butterfly, and then he'd get back to work for no reason. And he claimed to be autistic, but in reality, I think he was just dumb. Like, seriously, I think he was just dumb, and he knew he wasn't going to go anywhere in life, so he had to pretend to be autistic to get somewhere, or to get some kind of pity from people.
A lot of you resonated with the video, so I thought to myself, why not make a video going through each and every neurodivergent disorder and how students with that said disorder navigate school with it? Now look, this ain't no medical guide. I'm just a dude explaining common shared neurodivergent school experiences through observations, anecdotes, and research, you feel? I ain't no licensed doctor. With that being said, let's go! First, let's talk about autism. Yeah, this one hits close to home. Autism affects people in different ways and in different degrees. It's on a spectrum, hence the name autism spectrum disorder. Each autistic person has a unique mix of strengths, challenges, sensory needs, and communication styles. So it's not more or less autism, it's just different expressions of it. That being said, I feel like everyone with autism can agree that school is just a different type of hell, irrespective of the degree or style of autism you have. All of my homie hate school. First off, it's hard making friends at school, as no one takes you seriously due to the way you behave. So you try masking your autistic traits and attempt to act socially calibrated or normal, which takes a toll on your mental health, as that's not who you are truly. After that failed endeavor, you try to make friends with people who have autism just like you. You're thinking it must be easier to connect with people that think like you, right? Wrong. As autism is a spectrum type of disorder, so even if they have the same neurodivergent disorder, they are still different to you. It's no different to a Rubik's Cube. Same cube, but different colors. Speaking of, what autistic people do have in common is an obsession with certain hobbies, like solving a Rubik's Cube at break time, or drawing fan art, or trains, or watching WWE, or gooning to Nah, you thought. Shameless plug. I did rank every autistic special interest here, but us autistic people are chads, but we are often misunderstood, especially at school. We may be quiet, sensitive, or withdrawn, or shy, or we could be the complete opposite, like we could be very talkative, expressive, and passionate on the extreme level, but teachers and students perceive it as us being weird, rude, slow, or disengaged. We promise it's not intentional, it's just the way we behave, learn, and respond. Some things may come easy for you lot, but may be overwhelming for us. Like group projects ain't our strong suit. Like you're telling me I have to contribute with a group of people in a class? Nah, hell nah. Leave me out of it, I don't want it. Another example, exams in a big assembly hall. Very overwhelming. And noise from a crowded hallway. Oh my days, that's our biggest nightmare. That's why sometimes you probably see us wearing headphones, or using a stress toy, or go to quiet places to make us feel safe. However, being autistic at school can sometimes be a positive as well, at least for me. Like I got to take exams in a different quiet room, and I had extra time to finish my exams. I got to skip the lunch cube, and I had a support teacher tailored to my every need. So shout out to them in it. But how about ADHD? Now as you saw, I had a lot to say about autism, as it hits close to home. I'm kind of diagnosed with it. But for ADHD, it's kind of different, but can be mutually paired. Many people with autism also have ADHD as well. This is why we have this ADHD phenomenon. However, in this case, we're only going to talk about ADHD exclusively.
And me personally, I have ADHD because my mom had ADHD and I think my dad had ADHD, so it was no ducking and dodging for me. But I'm not gonna lie, I hate the people that go to my school that be like, oh, I'm so ADHD, or I'm so ADHD. Just because you heard a sound in the back of the class and you just turned around, that doesn't mean you have ADHD. That just means you heard a sound. There's no reason for you to try to act like you wanna, like y'all wanna have disorder so bad. You don't. If you're regular, just be regular, please.
And how it affects people at school, as autism and ADHD are obviously completely two different neurological conditions. ADHD affects attention regulation, impulse control, and executive functioning, not intelligence. Many intelligent students have ADHD. It's just that the school system doesn't understand the way it affects them and instead label them as lazy or unproductive. And I feel bad for the people at school with ADHD. It's not like they are choosing not to focus. Like they could be in a lesson where it's very interesting for them, but they will still feel like zoning out. But like when it involves having to use their executive brain function, then it will be hard for them to kind of focus, irrespective of what the lesson is. Reading a textbook for a long period of time will be borderline torture for an ADHD student. People with ADHD also have the tendency to forget a lot. A teacher may have set homework due for next week, but when it's time to actually submit the homework, you don't even remember them even setting homework in the first place. You didn't set us homework, Mr. Brown. What are you talking about?
I did.
You didn't.
I did.
You didn't.
I did. You see, you're not about to be gaslighting me. I'm the teacher. I know I sent homework. I told you to put in your planner. Did you put in your planner?
Oh, shoot, sorry. You did set us homework, my bad, sir. You would think the planner could be a solution to this, but they even forgot to check the planner as well. I see students with ADHD often get distracted very easily. The teacher might misunderstand that as an offense, as they're not paying attention in class. So they unlawfully get punished with detentions and all of that. Like, what's that all about? It's not like they can control when and when not to pay attention. And they always have to play catch up with classwork and assignments. It's no wonder why they burn out. Being called lazy, inattentive, or disengaged when it's not your fault must be exhausting. Like, it must be hell to always rely on last minute pressure to finish your homework all the time. Like, it must be so arduous to constantly batter yourself just to focus, but no one seems to understand it. Now, I especially feel for the students with Tourette syndrome. Okay, for those of you who don't know what Tourette syndrome is, then I can't lie, you're living under a rock. But don't worry, Daddy's going to explain it.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? I'm just getting your ass on.
I explain all of these neurodivergent conditions in a nutshell, so brace. Anyways, let me stop yapping and just explain it. God. Alright, so Tourette syndrome is a condition involving involuntary motor or vocal tics. What are tics, you may ask? Well, this will explain it. I feel for people with Tourette's, especially at school, because everyone thinks they're faking it. What's their whole dilemma? Either other students think they're faking it, or teachers thinking that they're doing it on purpose, just so they could get sent home early. Everyone always says to quit the act as they're doing it on purpose, just to be funny. But it's not really funny, as it's a real condition that people have to deal with. Damn, I just wish people would understand and be empathetic for once. It would really help the neurodivergent experience at school, but hey, what can we do? You know, students with Tourette's tend to suppress their tics in class, as they don't want unwarranted attention from students looking at them in their seats like they're insane or something. They're not insane, they're just different. But when they have vocal tics, the students laugh at them, saying to stop faking it, and they mock them and tease them, and it's so heartbreaking. I can't even imagine getting laughed at or getting teased on for something I didn't even ask to have or have control over. Some teachers often misunderstand it as them being rude or disruptive. Okay, a teacher thought he was getting hit on because a female student with Tourette's was having a whistling tic. Hey, it was not only that, my boy, stop cheesing and do your job. Students will go as far as to start spreading rumors to the whole school about Tourette students faking Tourette's. As a result, they get cancelled at school for faking, apparently. Is getting cancelled at school even a thing, by the way? So they have to prove that they actually have it by getting an official medical note confirming their diagnosis, just to still get violated by the students. It's just not fair on them. And me personally, I understand them. I don't mind any vocal tics. Even if a white person with Tourette's calls me a as a tic, I understand. See, it's just all about understanding. Having dyslexia at school must be tough as well, as it affects reading speed, spelling, and written language processing. School is literally all about reading, writing, and spelling. Maybe except with art. In that case, you're drawing. But that's not the point. You go to school just to read, write, and spell. Almost every day from morning to afternoon. You're forced to engage in your weaknesses while everybody else around you seems to be able to read, write, and spell effortlessly. And you're out here thinking, why is it so easy for them, but it's hard for you to just write a single sentence or spell rhythm?
Spell it then, since you're talking so much.
Alright, I'll spell it right now.
I ain't gonna lie, the thing about dyslexia, and here's the thing about Percy Jackson too. I remember we were reading the Percy Jackson book, or we was watching the movie. It was either one. I think it was both actually in 5th grade. And we were doing the hear, see. We were doing the hear and seeing test back then. But I kid you not, I just couldn't see it because I just didn't wear my glasses. I kid you not, I got up to the thing. They was like, all right, cover your left eye. And they said, read up what's on the board. And I was like, bro, I can't see. I just gotta act like I got dyslexia. I said HJO. Bro, the kids in the back was like, what? That's not what that says. Mind your business. Mind your business, please. So then I got up to the lady. She was like, all right, just try one more time. And I did it again. And they said, what? So I went up to the lady and she was like, do you wear glasses? I was like, nah, I'm just dyslexic. She was like, nah, I don't think you're dyslexic. I think you just can't see. And then that's when she prescribed me my first ever pair of glasses. Shout out to the school system.
HYTHM. People with dyslexia, least favorite lesson is probably English or history because those subjects require them to read and read and read more. What grinds my gears the most is when they need help. The teacher can't be bothered to just help them and expect them to just figure it out themselves.
Yo, what's good, Mike? Give me switch. I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Because apparently it's supposed to be easy or something. They wouldn't have asked for your help if they could figure it out themselves, could they, you muppet? Because of these teachers, they end up failing their assignments. And in my eyes, they didn't fail anything. The school system failed them. The dyslexic person's worst nightmare is a teacher asking them to read out loud a paragraph from a textbook. After reading, people start to think that something's wrong with him or something, which must be embarrassing. But despite that, dyslexic students tend to be brilliant verbally and all of that. They just need the right support system at school, like audiobooks and text-to-speech or something like that. Even me, I use audiobooks when I read, so there's no shame in using audiobooks to help you read. How about those students with OCD? OCD is not like a neurodevelopmental disorder like autism. It's a mental health condition under the umbrella term neurodivergence. OCD students have this compulsion to make sure everything is right and correct. There can't be any mistakes or it'll drive them crazy. Am I wrong or am I right? I can imagine it being very prevalent during exams. They feel the need to constantly check if everything is done in the right way. They can't make a single mistake. It's almost like perfectionism. OCD students also have these intrusive thoughts that torture their minds, like for real. These intrusive thoughts can be harmless, like the thought of pulling down your trousers and sitting on the school chair cheeked up. Or it can be some messed up shit that we're not gonna go into, or to be given examples about. And oh lord, we pray to God that the quiet emo kid sitting at the back of the class doesn't have OCD, because if he does, then say your last prayers, you feel. OCD students always have to double check if their assignment has been submitted, even when they know it has already been submitted. They always need reassurance from their teachers if their homework has been 100% done and complete and all correct. Even when they got marked 100%, it's constant reassurance, planning, checked, repetition, thoughts, perfectionism that interrupts their daily task. And all of this makes their peers see them as being over-dramatic or doing too much. And it's not even them, it's just their minds playing games with them, and it's not even their fault. Living with OCD must be tough, bruh. But sometimes having OCD can be a good thing as well, since you're always prioritizing that everything is done properly in it. Last but not least, dyspraxia. I've never even heard about this condition until I'd done my research. I can't even lie to you. So after my research, this is what I found. It affects motor coordination, organization, and sometimes speech. They're often clumsy.
Where is my classroom? I can't find my classroom, I am lost. The maps didn't help.
But last but not least,
What?
is dyscalculia. Dyscalculia is a math-based learning disability affecting number sense and calculations. Listen, I think I have undiagnosed dyscalculia because I am terrible at maths. Maths don't make sense to me, man. The only maths I understand is counting money. I can imagine students with dyscalculia using a calculator for every question, even the simple ones. But there's nothing to be ashamed of, as we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Anyways, if you're neurodivergent watching this, look, you're not lazy or stupid or a failure. You're just navigating a system that wasn't built for your unique mind. And if you're neurotypical, understanding people who think differently is the first step towards change, okay? I feel like I'm an advocate for reform for school. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you want...
Hey man, W react, man.